In a society where a woman's worth is often measured by her ability to bear children, barrenness or infertility was viewed as a source of shame and disgrace for women. It was seen as a failure to fulfill one of their primary societal obligations, and barren women often faced stigma, ridicule, and marginalization as a result. They were made fun of, looked down, and left out, which made them feel really bad about themselves and their place in the community. They were sometimes perceived as cursed or sinful, and their inability to conceive was often attributed to divine punishment or displeasure. In this societal context, women who are struggling with infertility are facing immense pressure and emotional distress. Not only did they endure the personal anguish of longing for children, but they also grappled with the social stigma and judgment associated with their barrenness. The taunts and provocations from others served to compound their pain and reinforce their sense of inadequacy. Then, how to overcome it? You cannot overlook every taunt and provocation. There's also a fraction of people genuinely supportive of you. But let me tell you, they are just showing pity on you. Do you want pity to define your life, or do you aim to prove yourself equal to others? Overcoming infertility or barrenness is challenging, but it's 100% possible to rise above it. Now, we will see a captivating story of Hanna, a woman whose unwavering faith and resilient spirit continue to inspire generations. In the bustling marketplace of Ramathaim Zophim, nestled within the hills of Ephraim, Hanna struggled with a burden that weighed heavily upon her heart: the anguish of infertility. She couldn't have a baby. Infertility cast a shadow over Hanna's existence, clouding her days with a sense of incompleteness and longing. In a society where a woman's worth was often measured by her ability to bear children, Hanna's barrenness brought not only personal sorrow, but also societal scrutiny and shame. Before delving into Hanna's narrative, let us paint a picture of the intricate dynamics of her household. Hanna was married to Elkanah, a man of noble character and deep devotion. However, their union was not without its complications. In the pain of infertility, Elkanah took another wife named Peninnah. The cultural pressures of the time and Elkanah's desire for heirs likely influenced this decision. Yet Hanna was deeply affected by the consequences. For Hanna, the presence of Peninnah in her household exacerbated the pain of her infertility. Peninnah, who bore Elkanah children, became a constant reminder of Hanna's perceived failure to fulfill her role as a wife and mother. Each year, as they journeyed to the tabernacle at Shiloh, Peninnah's children frolicked around her, while Hanna's arms remained empty, her heart heavy with longing, her longing for a child intensifying as the years passed. Despite her best efforts to maintain a brave face, Hanna couldn't shake the deep sorrow that permeated her soul. Her heart is heavy with the silent prayers she dared not speak aloud. And so, year after year, as the cycle repeated itself, Hanna found herself trapped in a never-ending spiral of hope and despair, her longing for a child growing ever more fervent with each passing day. But she is blessed with a good and comforting husband. He held her close, offering words of comfort and reassurance, promising to stand by her side through every trial. He kept saying, "Why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" Yet Hanna's yearning for a child persisted. Despite her husband's unwavering support, Hanna's heart remained restless, for she knew that only God held the power to grant her deepest desire, a child of her own. In the quiet moments of the pilgrimage to Shiloh, amidst the throngs of worshippers and the scent of sacrificial offerings, Hanna sought solace in communion with her Creator. She knew that her husband's embrace, though filled with love, could not fill the void in her heart. Only through surrendering her desires to the Almighty could she find peace. She acknowledged her husband's love and support, but her ultimate trust rested in the divine. For she understood, as expressed in Psalm 127:3, "Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him." And so, she continued to seek God's favor, knowing that He alone could bless her with the gift she so deeply desired. In the midst of her tears and turmoil, she clung to her belief in a God who saw her pain and heard her cries, trusting that he would one day turn her mourning into dancing. Despite her circumstances, she chose to turn to him in prayer, seeking solace and intervention in her time of need. Her moment of prayer was a profound expression of her vulnerability, her hope, and her deep connection with the divine. She stood before the Creator of the universe as a beloved child, laying bare her soul and her desires. Hannah knelt before the Lord, her lips moving in silent supplication as tears cascaded down her cheeks like raindrops upon parched earth. It was a moment of profound intimacy between Hannah and her God, where she found strength, comfort, and ultimately the assurance that her prayers would be heard. Hannah's heart echoed with a silent plea, a desperate cry, a fervent plea for the one gift that seemed to evade her, a child of her own. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, "Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head." Eli, the wise priest, initially mistook Hannah's fervent prayers for drunken ramblings, but soon realized their sincerity. Offering words of blessing, he declared, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant your petition." Hannah's prayer transformed her despair into hope and expectancy, as she trusted in God's faithfulness to intervene. Her faith was rewarded when God granted her the blessing of motherhood, fulfilling her deepest longing. In the fullness of time, the barren womb of Hannah was opened by the hand of the Almighty, and she conceived a son. When the time of her delivery drew near, she rejoiced with a joy that surpassed all understanding, for she knew that her prayers had been heard and answered in the courts of heaven. After seeing her beloved son Samuel, Hannah didn't forget the oath she had given to God. Instead, she remained steadfast in her commitment and devotion. Though her heart undoubtedly ached at the thought of parting with her precious child, she remembered the solemn promise she had made in her time of desperation and longing. Hannah fulfilled her vow to present her son, Samuel, to God by taking him to the house of the Lord in Shiloh. As soon as Samuel was weaned, Hannah brought him to Eli the priest in the tabernacle. Hannah's unwavering faith and integrity compelled her to honor her vow, even in the face of personal sacrifice. As she looked upon Samuel, her love for him mingled with her love for God, reinforcing her determination to fulfill her promise. With a heavy yet resolute heart, she entrusted Samuel into the hands of the Lord, knowing that his life would be dedicated to serving God's purposes. Samuel, the son of Hannah, was blessed in numerous ways. His birth, a miracle in response to his mother's prayers, marked him as special from the beginning. Dedicated to God's service from infancy, Samuel became a prophet chosen by the Lord, delivering divine messages to Israel. His leadership as a judge and spiritual guide brought stability and spiritual renewal to the nation. Samuel's pivotal role in anointing Saul and David as kings solidified his influence in shaping Israel's destiny. Throughout his life, Samuel exemplified divine favor and purpose, blessing not only his own family, but also the entire nation with his wisdom and guidance. Hannah's story teaches us about unwavering faith, persistence, and God's faithfulness. Despite her barrenness and ridicule, Hannah remained steadfast in prayer, showing the power of unwavering faith. Her vow to dedicate her son to God reflects her deep commitment. When God answered her prayers with Samuel, her prayer of thanksgiving resonated with joy, showing her recognition of God's faithfulness. Hannah's example teaches us to trust in God's timing, honor commitments to Him, and find joy in His blessings amid life's challenges.